Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rika and this is a House of Stitch and Stash. Today it's going to be a little bit different. I'm trying to record this video as requested by one of my followers on Instagram on how I stop my stitches. So I figured I'm going to go ahead and record a video for you guys so that for those who need ideas on how to do that, I am going to share that to you all. So this is a new start for me. This pattern is, let me see if I can go grab it. Hang on 1 second, that will be my dog. Also, if you hear a squeaking sound, that is my lens focusing. So if that bother you, I'm so sorry, but it is what it is. But anyway, so this is the pattern that I am starting so that I can show you guys what I'm talking about. This is called Bella Filipina, and it's Portrait of Maria Clara. So, sorry, I think I'm blocking the Alright, that's better. Blocking the camera. So anyway, let me see if I could put you guys right there. So if you guys can see this little dot, that dot represents the middle. I am using one of those pens that disappear with air. So yeah, so don't worry about that little dot, it's gonna go away. But anyway, so let's go ahead and start. So I normally use my iPad for reading my pattern, and the app that I use is called Goodreader. But today I am using my iPad for my screen so that I can see what the camera is pointing at, and so I'm actually going to be looking at my paper copy, which is going to be a challenge for me because I cannot see very well. But I'm going to try my best. So let's begin. I've determined the middle part of the pattern and I think I'm ready to go. So also I want to say special thanks to Kay. Thank you, Kay, for gifting me this at Stitch West. I forgot to show this on my channel, but I love it. It keeps needles in there and there's some DMC threads in there. So thank you so much. Okay, so how I begin my stitches, if I'm using DMC, there's going to be 3 ways that I'm going to show you guys on how to do this. But the first way that I showed Kef, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you stitchers already use this method, it's called the loop method. And what I do is, so this is my DMC thread right here, if my camera picks up on that. And what I do is I just double it up, one single thread, so it's just one single one, and I double it up into 2, end to end. Let's see. And I then thread my needle. I'm a licker, so hopefully my camera focuses. Thread my needle just like that. And what I do is I let a bit of the thread hang so they're not even. So you have it considerably, the other side is considerably longer than the other when you loop it. And there's a little loop, I'm sorry, when you thread it, and there's a little loop right here at the end so that you can loop your thread in it. So what I do is, oh my gosh, my table is on the way. Hopefully this doesn't shake too much. So I've determined that the middle of the pattern is right here. So I would do a half stitch. I'm not going all the way. I'm letting the thread on the bottom hang loose. As you guys can see, the shorter part is up here. And then I would loop it. So I would go down and then do like a half And then if I could rotate my work, hang on 1 second. Hang on. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I moved my stand so that it's better. I can rotate it. So while the thread is hanging with a half stitch, so I'm gonna rotate it. And while it's like the little loop right here, as you guys can see, then I thread my needle into the hoop, just like so, and then you pull it, and then it's secure into your stitching. So I hope that makes sense. I don't actually have to rotate most of the time. I just kind of feel it on the bottom, but for the sake of this tutorial, I am showing you guys that method. So, and you just do a normal stitching. Hang on 1 second, let me see if I could rotate the camera this way. There you go. Sorry guys, this is like I'm actually sitting in front of my sewing machine because it has the best lighting. So let me see where I'm at. I'm gonna mark my stitch so that I know exactly where I'm at. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and keep on stitching for a little bit. So that's the first way that I do my my stitching. Actually, you guys can't even see. So I'm already making a mistake. No. Hang on, guys. Hold, please. Okay, you guys. I hope this is better because I did some changes on my camera, but for some reason it doesn't want to focus on this part. Give me 1 moment. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this 1 bit of row, and then I'm gonna show you guys how I stop my stitches. So pretend that I've done a couple of other stitches in my project. So if I want to end this part right here, I just turn over my project, making sure that I don't, and I just thread it underneath. Can you guys see it? I just thread my needles through the stitches that I've done, just like so. And then I go back into maybe 1 or 2 stitches. Normally I would do this with like 5 stitches if I have a lot of stitches already put in, but because I only have a little bit that's in it, I can't do that. And that's pretty secure there, and I just clip it as close as possible to the edge so that I don't have a lot of threads hanging out. So that's one way. The second way, if I am using, for example, variegated threads that are, I cannot do the loop method, what I would do is I would do this one other method that I will show you guys. I don't really know what it's called, but it's almost the same principle as if you're going to be threading your needle underneath your stitches, like hiding your stitches in. So what I do is, so I have the 2 threads hanging out like this. I don't do the knot. I would, for example, if I have a couple more stitches put in, I would bury it underneath the stitches that are already in place, like this, and I would pull as much as I can leaving a small tail, and then as if I am ending my stitches, I go back 1 to 2 stitches in, and I pull again so that my stitches are secure on the thread. So I don't have a lot of stitches that are hanging out because most of the time it shows on the front. So then I could begin my stitches one more time. I'm not sure what that method is called. I'm sure there's a name for it that I don't know, because I'm not very good at knowing particular names. So I'm gonna just keep on stitching like I would. So that's the second way that I do my start, which I've been liking a lot lately, because then I don't accidentally carry stitch or loose threads up top. So it's a little bit neater back there. So yeah, that's that. I'm gonna do this row, and I'm gonna show you guys the last way that you can start and end your stitches, which is the pin method, which I know a lot of people use in their stitching. So I'm gonna rotate again, and it's the same process as if I'm, but because my stitches are going the other direction this time, you just bury your stitches into the stitches that you've put in. Gently. And then I'm going to go back and pick up one or two stitches back where I did my others, what I came from on this side. Not the whole entire way, just 1 or 2. And that's pretty secure back there. So I'm going to clip it. Right, and then the last way that I do my start and stop is the pin method, which you can do a couple of ways actually. So hang on, I just want to see I'm doing it right. You can do a diagonal pin stitch, or I'm just marking where I'm at so I don't have to frog this later on, because this is a new start. Hang on, guys. So then the other one is called a pin method. I'm going to show you guys now. So what you would do is you would start in the middle of your stitching like this. And so for example, if the, let's see this, let me show you on the, for example, this is your little box, little box, little box, little box. And then with, if you're using linen, so there's additional, what do you call that, holes, because you're doing 2 over 2 threads of the fabric. So what you would do is you'll come up here, this one, number 1, you come up here from the bottom up, and then you're gonna do your stitches this way, number 2. So it's like a half stitch, and then you go back around and you take your stitches up here, up to the very edge, and then you do number 4 here. So I'm gonna try and show you guys that. That's how I do it. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but that's how I do it. So I am going into the middle of the middle of the what do you call that, the little square box, and then I'm gonna go up to the very top on the right hand side of my box, and then I'm gonna go around to the very like another half stitch of the diagonal. I think that's the best way to explain it. And then you're gonna go back into the middle like so. And then you can start your stitching. You can either do that, or you can go back and do another stitch, like a half stitch, to cover up that stitch if you like, which is totally fine too, whichever works for you. I'd say you stitch however you like. So let me show you guys that how I'm gonna end it with the stitching. So I'm gonna do a couple of stitches in. I don't know where I'm at. Okay, I missed one stitch actually, but it's okay. So I'm gonna finish this part. So if I want to end my stitches using the pin stitch, sorry if it's shaking, my stand is shaking. All you have to do is this way I actually do the up and down way. Let me see, where's my paper? Where's my pen? So for example, if you already have your X is already on top and you want to end your stitching. So what I would do is I will go up here in this hole, and then I would do a stitch underneath the X to go on this hole in the middle. And then I would do the same thing. So once your needle is down, when you point up, you point and start on this right here. So that's number 1, going to number 2, the number 3, and then you end up on number 4 back into the middle. So if I can explain that into my stitching. So for example, I already have my stitches put in and I want to end my stitching. And this way is really good when you have a lot of confetti and your stitches are all over like a fabric and you don't want the tails to show. This is a good way to do that. And then you just do it in the middle, you bury it underneath your stitches, you come up, and then you stitch and bury it in the middle again, just like so. So then on the back, it's pretty secure in there. You can just snip it. The only thing that I don't really like with pin stitching is sometimes when you start off, there's still a little bit of like baby threads hanging out. I'm just gonna clip it real quick. So sometimes it carries on the top when you're stitching. So that's the only problem with that. But anyway, so that is how I stop and start my stitching. This video is going to be hopefully a quick video so that you guys can see how I do that. Anyway, that is it for today. I am actually waiting on dinner as I'm doing this video. And I have a couple more sewing I need to get done tonight before I call it a night. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday evening and that you're getting some stitching done. Hopefully that helps some of you. I hope that my camera actually showed the whole process. And anyway, I'll talk to you guys very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye for now.